want to get right into the reasoning, right? And you're the perfect person to speak for this, speak about this. That is, and I'm very grateful for your time and you sharing your expertise and your insights with us. So the first question I have is that how will the destruction of agricultural parishes affect food prices and food security for Jamaican households over the coming months and even years?
All right. So everything have multiple impact. So in the short run, even at high gates, seeing the banana trees them down. And if we had cut the leaves on the banana trees, I wasn't here. I was absent for a month. So I wasn't actually here during the hurricane and things. I was actually in Ghana and then I went to France for a conference. Was in Ghana doing a conference, what we call the African in Transition Conference, where I presented a Marcus Garvey model, which actually addressed some of these things of self-reliance and collective security, and then I went to France, what is called a Global Solidarity Economic Conference. And that conference spoke about how people can work collaboratively towards development, which is still reflective in Rastafari philosophy of self-reliance and collective security. So while I was not here, the work that was and was actually in support of what needs to be done in Jamaica post the hurricane. So as relates to food, so when we're in the short run, immediately you can see that prices have increased. So before I left Jamaica, tomato was being sold for like $150 a pound, $100 a pound. And that is at Papine Market. In Coronation Market would have been cheaper. Now today at Papine Market, 1 pound of tomato actually costs 500 Jamaican dollars. So you have about a 400% increase in prices. And I think that will be the average increase in price. But that is really a short term phenomenon, because agriculture is the first sector to always revive. Seeing, and if you think about it, it makes sense. So most of the fresh vegetables that we might consume, like kalalu and pak chai and cabbage, So pak chai is about 4 to 6 weeks. Kalalu is around the same 3 to 4 to 6 weeks. Cabbage, take a little bit longer, like 3 months. Parsley, celery. So on average, the fresh vegetables take a maximum of 4 to 3 months. So I am seeing a 3 months window where they're going to be increasing prices and some importation of certain things. I mean certain things that are like beetroot. But it's like standard things. Like even now, remember this cause is the southeastern part where I have St. Elizabeth that tend to plant a lot of the food. But I don't want people to be tricked. St. Elizabeth, as a parish, probably planted the most food on the south coast. But Clarendon is planting a whole lot of food all over Jamaica. Trelawney, even though Trelawney got hit, I could see my brethren, what we call Yummy, who come to Papine Market. He came with everything, but mostly like yam and sweet potato and carrots. I must say a lot of other things get hit, but a lot of those things are underground food. So them still have a portion of those that are there. So while St. Elizabeth is going to have a major setback, and St. Elizabeth primarily plant season. Some of find a lot of people who understand Jamaica agricultural landscape. So if you talk about scallion and thyme, that are St. Elizabeth and things. Carrot and them things them also plant a lot of. But if you talk about sweet potato and Irish, that is certain places like Manchester, Christiana. Manchester get some really bad hits as well to still. So we're expecting that you're going to have a shortage of those. But say the ground food now, like the Irish and the sweet potato, those usually take like a 6 months to come forward. And of course, bananas take 9 to 11 months to come forward. So essentially, within a 1 year period, we should get back normal supplies of every kind of agriculture product in Jamaica. Notice I did not mention anything about livestock. See, because again, like chicken, where people eat chicken, chicken is really a chicken. It takes about 6 weeks to mature. See, but if you talk about goat and cows, and I don't hear anything happening to the goats and cows. I have not heard that in the news that there's a major destruction because it's not sensitive that grow in animal husbandry the most. Those are things that are scattered across the entire island. But there are more food planted across Jamaica than people think. But because most people think, say, oh, St. Elizabeth is a bread basket, that's what we say traditionally. And that place has gotten severe hits and things. We know there's a shortage and prices are going to go up, but those things will be remedied quite soon. Now, the state, though, is where my biggest concern is. Because if farmers in St. Elizabeth are going to depend upon the state to support them, sometimes these people take too long to make decisions, you know. I'm a concern about St. Elizabeth that last year, the next hurricane, you know, and St. Elizabeth got hit again last year. And so but the St. Elizabeth people have a culture of doing things on their own. So they would have planted and rebuilt them houses and put them by them roofs. And here comes the next hurricane. So it's a double hit them get, you know. So I suspect it might be a little bit dependent now upon the state for some form of support. A lot of help has been going down there, but the amount of bureaucracy here in terms of how people access the help, you know, it just disheartening, brethren. But since that people are very independent persons, but Jamaica in general, a final point I want to make is that it gives Jamaica a chance now to revisit voting about agriculture. Because for years we have been saying that you have about 30 to 40,000 acres of land, flat land, between Clarendon and St. Catherine that should go under production. And there were programs that was called the Essex Valley Production and the Spod Production Program. They need to fast track those things now. So what it can do is that rather than put Jamaica in a position which is food insecure, Jamaica can come out being food sovereign because the state will be smart and say, let us move with agriculture. Because if you don't move with agriculture, it is going to affect those who operate in the micro, small, and medium enterprises. Because 95% of all manufactured products that comes from the MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprise, are linked into the agriculture value chain. So the implication is not just for fresh food, there's implication for processed food as well. But I'm saying out of a disaster can come a very big positive, which is to move to food sovereignty. Just like the simple principle of the phoenix rise from the ashes, you know. So Jamaica can actually come out much better than they were previous to Melissa, which means that we accelerate and amplify farming in the other parishes that have an abundance of land, while we still support St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland to get back into their production. You know, so my meditation is not that it is going to be a doom and gloom situation. My thinking is that we have an opportunity to actually draw on the positives that can come from this, which is to ramp up agriculture production island-wide.
And Far Eye, I was in Grenada, right? And I forgot the Brazian's name, but he brought up something that I never really thought about. Tell you the truth, he was speaking about how industrialism in countries like America, Canada, and Europe on the European continent lead to the shift in weather patterns that affect the Caribbean, right?
Yes.
And I would like you to speak about how capitalism and industrialism in these countries impact Caribbean countries who are experiencing these extreme hurricanes? And is there anything realistically that can be done to reduce it? Because the way the thing is going now, they're not they're not toning down what they're
No.
doing in regards to production, and it seems that the hurricanes are becoming more extreme and in tighter periods. So, is there anything realistic that can be done, or is there something that you know about that's being done to reduce the impact on Earth and the Caribbean?
That's a very ancient discussion, you know. I did my PhD work over 20 odd years ago. And my PhD work is actually in sustainable development, you know. And so as part of the discourse, we're speaking about things like the polluter pay principle, which means that those who create the pollution should pay for remedying the solutions, you know, for finding the solutions to the problems. And you know, Europe and America, them just talk and talk and talk, but them don't have no real interest. And remember, you know, it's not even about so much, because them people that grow up in our culture with them being them selfish self-interest. That's them economic principles. So them only concerned about things that happen to them. But if you look in America and in Europe, some serious devastation taking place in those places. Fires are burned for months upon months upon months in California. See, in Italy, they had to create state of emergencies because every year about 60 people die from the extreme heat. And while you have extreme heat in one place, you have extreme flood in the next place. Germany is the same thing. See, so they are also feel it in their homes and they're not paying attention. See? But you see, them people have a mindset with you say, once you have money, you can solve every problem. But that is not it. So I personally, not expecting no guy in Rome to try to find solutions to the problems that I and I face within small island developing nation states. So I'm not broadening the discussion to move beyond the Caribbean. But anywhere you have small island developing nations, we are affected by certain kind of weather patterns, in particular hurricanes. And you speak to the fact that the emission of pollutants, which lead to global warming, is creating a problem. I want to raise a very important point here, so which is not a part of the general discourse. Because while we might say that is pollution from manufacturing and from oil production that is causing global warming, I'm saying it is contributing, yes, but I'm going to tell you that my own suspicion is that the biggest fuel of global warming is weapons that these people create and fight wars. You just imagine the amount of heat that is generated from bombs that these people drop everywhere. Think about the impact on the ocean currents when these people test all these bombs in the Pacific Ocean. Where that energy go? You know? And so when you extract oil, and the oil is a lubrication between the plates, it means that there's no lubrication. You're dropping these bombs on the earth, exploding under the sea. That energy is traveling through the ocean floor, creating different shifts and changes, which can lead to all these things that we are seeing. But they have no intention. They have intention, I think, of addressing these things. So even though we have these things, them call the Conference of Parties, what them call COP, and we have all these sustainable committees and all these meetings. America in particular is one of the countries that don't sign on to these things. And they are the ones who perpetuate the madness the most. Then you look at Europe and those places are looking at alternative energies. They are far advanced over the United States. But the United States is also involved in alternative energy, you know. But it's because them link up into this petrol, where the petrol carry the petrol dollar with the oil. That is where them have for them problem. And I'm not going to give up their money. Because again, without that money, America, let's say, globally. Now, what are our solutions? So we can't have a solution for our next guy. So, from a long time, we tell people, man, housing designs, a natural hazard don't have to be a natural disaster. What do I mean by that? Hurricanes have always been occurring. Those are natural hazards. The intensity might have increased, but it's still a natural hazard. Now, if we have good preparation for a natural hazard, which means, let me give you an example. If we have proper drainage system and we maintain those drains, whenever storm, which is different from a hurricane, because hurricane is wind and storm is rain. Whenever storm, there's less flooding because it can naturally flow out. If you have housing designs that are designed to cut wind, so you're more spherical in the shape of the houses, naturally you'll have less damage. If you use different kind of straps, but remember, this hurricane was 185 miles to 245 miles per hour, So, say, the roof design, you have to pay attention to roof design. So I'm saying if we use slab roof, because no concrete roof will have been blown down or blown off, because it'll blow off concrete. So it means that Jamaica will start design more houses with concrete roofs as against this fancy zinc. Because the zinc is real for aesthetics, If it's functional, we're going to use concrete roof. So there are ways of housing design. There are ways of dealing with pre-natural hazard preparation, like cleaning drains and make sure those things and put in place rules that those drains are not backed up against. So you talk about solid waste management and all those things. So a natural hazard can occur even to a category 5. And the infrastructure will be spared. You can't stop aeration wind from blowing down trees. See? So we just replant trees. But if you talk about infrastructure, there's infrastructure design that can deal with the intensity of the natural hazards. But listen to me, these guys, I see a lot of people sending in a lot of aid. I'm not talk any people them know, I talk some government guy sending in some aid. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, I like the fact say they must send in aid, because what people love Jamaica. But me I wonder if the aid they must send in because a little bit different. Let me tell you what I mean. It's like me here say our country sending in about 400 generator, which is good. Because generator is important because people have no light. But at the same time, I say, all right, could we do some technology transfer? Because I go to Europe and in America, and the amount of windmill that I see, seeing the amount of different ways of generating electricity, the amount of solar designs that them could have. So we could actually use the opportunity now to create a lot of alternative energy systems. And that don't take a long time to put up in a bridging. It don't take a long time to put up like how your people attack. Seeing Germany full of them technology, England full of them technology, USA full of them technology. But they must send generator. Instead of sending those plants where you can reach up and put up same time. Because breeze still blow. Sun still shine. Seeing? So the aid that I see coming in good. But I'm saying the aid that is coming in, the outcome can only be suboptimal. The outcome is not going to be the optimal outcome. And so the state itself now have to know how you are reasoning people. So I mean, I the government, I talk PMP and GLP in parliament can say to all the people who are sending aid, say, what you know? We don't like these kind of aids. So for example, if you talk about water, don't send in a plain load of water to Jamaica. Jamaica is a land of food and water. It does have a hurricane. All kind of springs and rivers are broke up. But what you could do now is send in makeshift, not even makeshift. You can send in processing facilities that can treat the water at a parish level and set up those facilities really, really quickly. So people can get access. And even after the impasse, those facilities still exist to support people who would need water after that as well. So I say, Rastafari vibration is always positive. There's always a positive way beside these things. But you see, sometimes them guys in parliament, some so licky and beggy. That's as a man give them something. Them accept it without even saying to the brethren, say, so we could I do that way here? And I'm not blaming the governments who are giving these things to Jamaica, Because I'm thinking that the government of Jamaica have not even in the dialogue, haven't spoke to those persons and put these ideas and say, what you know? Let us set up a wind farm. Let us set up solar farms. We still want the generators to help certain people in the immediate. But by 4 to 5 to 6 months, I have seen the man them build roads in 6 months. Roads! So you can't say you can't set up windmills. And Jamaica have examples of those windmills in places like St. Elizabeth and Manchester. And we don't want to say windmill blow down. I have not seen anything that the windmill has blown down. See, so I'm saying use the opportunity to do the infrastructure properly. So we are talking about housing design, we are talking about energy design, we are talking about the water. So for example, most of the coasts were destroyed. And you don't have water. But a place like Cayman don't have no fresh water. What do you think Cayman have? Desalination plants. Are you saying to us then that all those people do those technology would not be willing to say, okay, let us contribute at least 14 desalination plants across Jamaica? So people can actually use access to fresh water, but we can actually use seawater and convert to fresh water so people can use for bathing purposes. And I think in Cayman, they probably use it for drinking purposes as well. So those things can be done. So again, I'm saying it's not a doom and gloom situation. Seeing it has to do with mindset. And the technology exists globally. And we also about technology transfer. And so negotiating with people who love Jamaica and want to give to Jamaica to get those things that can have a bigger impact and a more sustainable impact, I think is more a long-term feasible strategy than this begging mentality with them guys and the government tend to have. Like the bellyful mentality. As against putting yourself in a position where you can actually feed, clothes, and shelter yourself. And I'm using that in a very generic word. Where, you can do those things yourself in a sustainable way.
And Farah, I wanted to ask, in regards to tourism, right? How will Melissa or the effects of Melissa impact tourism on the short term and also the economic confidence of Jamaicans and the world's view of Jamaica as it rebuilds.
All right, what you know? What you say, my brother? From 1999, we had what was called a tourism master plan. I had to review that plan in my PhD work. And the tourism master plan said that Jamaica should really look at what is called an alternative approach towards tourism. Not the sun, sea, and sun approach, but more what them call nature tourism and things still, no?
Eco
Coming to base.
ecotourism, far right?
Yes, ecotourism. Some more nature-based tourism. The man never adapt those things. You see, people like to think about tourism. Tourism, them said bringing the most foreign exchange in Jamaica and also employ a significant part of the population. But let me tell you something. Do you know that tourism is a sector that at the least, I want people to listen to this carefully because some people like to jump to conclusion, at the least positive multiplier effect on the Jamaican economy. What do I mean by that? The leakage, and some of these guys in government are liars. The leakage from tourism was estimated to be 70%, which means that 70 cents out of every dollar generated in tourism leaves the country. It was up to 90%. To make it worse, if you speak to a sister like Dr. Carolyn Hale, who speaks about the tourism system, she talks about the industry, the hotels, the generating market, and the transit route. What she's saying is that 80% of the dollar is already spent in the generating market. So in this case, let us say the United States are generating market. 80% of the dollar is already spent in the generating market and in the transit routes. So between the booking people and the planes. So there's only 20 cents comes to Jamaica. And out of that 20 cents, 70% of that 20 cents leaves Jamaica and go back overseas.
Far right,
So,
hold on, far right. I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was that bad because when I speak about tourism, people say I'm talking foolishness. But continue. I didn't know it was that bad. I knew it was
no,
bad.
because most of people don't know.
And I think, you know what I think what occurs too is that you see the social media, there's a pro and con to this thing. One of the pros is exposure to the island, but one of
Yes.
the cons is the misconception about what's going on in the island. They see people, they see a person with a lot of views in Jamaica. So in their mind, they figure tourism is booming. When I'm there and I was in Montego Bay in June, I was talking to the taxi drivers. Friday said it was quiet. They was waiting for Sunfest.
And remember, this is in the context of Jamaica getting the number one destinations about 2 to 3 years in the last 5 years. And it's also about Jamaica having about 5 million tourists coming here. So what you have is that tourists come to Jamaica, them go to the hotels that are controlled by TUI and the German, because most hotels in Jamaica, though they might think say those are Spanish-owned hotels, those are actually owned by Germany and a Spanish brand. So them come to the hotels, them go to the hotels, the money is spent in the hotels, and the money leave. The people in the hotels are underpaid, overworked, and trapped in a culture of subservience. No, I'm not saying that it don't create a job, but the jobs that it creates cannot meaningfully improve the quality of lives of the people. Some man say, okay, knife. So you talk about tourism and like tourism not good. What should we do? Do you know that agriculture makes up about 8% of the GDP already? And the data had shown that if we had a $4 billion investment in agriculture, we could actually double the contribution of the GDP to 16%. And if you double the contribution of agriculture to the GDP, because it feeds into manufacturing, which is also a big part of the GDP, I think about 7 or 9%. Don't quote me on that. Maybe just check by the figure. It will also boost the improvement in manufacturing. Those will give more meaningful contribution to people. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to get rid of the hotels, because that is for them part of the business. And let me tell you my bias, truly, my brother. I write the National MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy. See? So I'm also of a mindset when I was thinking about how do we endogenize growth, meaning say how do we ensure that the engine of growth is owned and controlled and generated from your own country. See? That is where my mindset is. So when people hear my reason like this because of the amount of research we do, and also some research focus. And in doing the research, I have to also look at what at the macro level and the micro level. Tourism has never really endogenized. It can't endogenize growth because it not owned yourself because of the leakages. So if you have focus on those in the micro, small, and medium enterprise. Now, the people in the alternative tourism industry, like the community-based tourism and the ecotourism, they will form a part of the micro, small, and medium enterprise. The sun and sea and sand hotels, those are in the big business, and those are the ones that have the leakage. So I'm saying the status quo can continue to focus on their thing, but I'm saying concurrently, it don't have to be a zero-sum game. It don't have to be one or the other. I am saying just as how you put so much incentives into building out that form of tourism, why we don't put the same incentive in building out the more community-based tourism, which you know is going to impact people more, agriculture, which are going to impact people more, the cultural and creative industries, that is going to impact people more, because the cultural and creative industries have about 14 different areas. Control the mining sector properly, which means that when you negotiate with the people for extraction of things, you do it properly, you don't sell out your country. Jamaica and the Caribbean never need tourism in the bridging. That was a strategy developed in the 1980s. Sorry. Under Reagan and Thatcher in the bridging. When them creators call it Tourism Act, you know, as a trap. It's not asking this. It's a trap where you become dependent. You cannot be dependent on an industry that you do not have control over. So now you're going to have a big fallout in tourism. Do you know? And when I said these things more, the people go check it out. That the poorest parishes in Jamaica are the ones that are tourism dependent. The poorest parishes in Jamaica are the ones that are tourism dependent. St. Thomas, Portland, St. Ann, St. James, and one more, St. Mary. So we're talking about St. James, which is the tourism capital in the Caribbean, and St. Ann is two different worlds. So you have one where the tourism and one where the other people. And there's no filtering of the tourism dollar into those communities. That's why poverty is so high. That's why poverty is so high. Why do you think you then mobile? Who say a scam? I say, well, who them take back things from white people? Because you them get so disgusted with the tourism. Because them see them mother and them sister and them brother working at the hotel. And them not make no money. You think you can tell me if I go work in a hotel? If tourism was doing something good for Jamaica, we would have had a very big inflow of youths wanting to go to work into the hotel. Why else much youth are going to work in BPO, which is modern day free zones, but it's a technology-based free zone, like we have the free zone in Jamaica in the 1980s where people are so shirt sleeve and everything. You have people with degrees. It's Joe the Bridging upon Bridging. Jamaica has never met the demand for agriculture output locally nor globally. Jamaica cannot meet the demand for Jamaica manufactured products globally. And I'm not talking about trying to feed a Chinese man or a guy in Germany or France Jamaican food now. I'm just saying, if we were to produce, to supply the Jamaican and the Caribbean diaspora, if the Caribbean was to create a diaspora export-led strategy for agriculture and manufacturing, because we have 25 million people in the Caribbean and the same outside of the Caribbean. We cannot feed our own Caribbean people locally and in the diaspora.
What's the tax situation for hotels in Jamaica? Are they paying taxes? Are they tax exempt? Can you clarify that for us, please?
All right, fire. Yeah, man. Yesterday I mentioned the Tourism Act, which has been repealed just a couple years ago. In the Tourism Act in the 1980s, if you're going to establish a tourist in Jamaica, a hotel in Jamaica, all you have to do is come with the money. You don't pay duties for anything. You don't pay tax on anything. You don't pay profit tax. You don't pay nothing. It's a free ride. We pay you, literally, to build a hotel in Jamaica and take the money outside of Jamaica. It's just a couple of years ago. I'm going to tell you something with them having the act. If you should improve upon your hotel to build like additional 7 rooms, you get an next extension and not paying any tax or anything like that. So it's the most, as a matter of fact, if you read the research done by Prof. Clayton, Carlin Hale, Ian Boxhill, Ramji Singh, I do some research as well, my brethren, Andrew Spencer. Those are people may I call who are some of the lead writers in the tourism, especially Andrew Spencer and Carlin Hale. When you do the review, you'll find that the only reason the hotels in Jamaica were competitive is because they are overly subsidized and incentivized. Remember that Jamaica is a country, when you talk about all the brethren like Butch Stewart and Sandals, remember that Jamaica gave Butch Stewart Air Jamaica, Them give him a plane for himself, brethren. And it was so sickening that it was cheaper for a tourist to travel from the Americas into Jamaica than for a Jamaican to come to Jamaica. Because the flights were subsidized, and even though it is shorter to come from anywhere to Kingston, it costs more to land in Kingston than to travel to Mobile, because Mobile is a tourism destination. Hey, them guys are some wicked people when you check it out, And you see, sometimes we have these discussions, people not gonna like the truth, But it's them guys the fire, them wicked. That's the only way. For 30 odd years now, 40 odd years, nearly 50 odd years, them have people on this kind of subservience kind of thing. On these guys, like I said, building Jamaica. You go and check tourist hotels. We want the place that we're polluting the oceans and the rivers the most. We did that work on Canary, who pays for water. Myself and Karen here did that work, and we did that work. I decided I'm not going to no sea on the North Coast. No, though. In recent years, they have done a lot of work in the hotels in terms of water disposal, etc. So those things are in my own thinking now. Them clean up and things still. But I'm still saying, Norma is an over-subsidized industry. It is not efficient. It is not efficient. When I did Germany, when I did France the other day, I take a video of a hotel that I was in, And I said it to her, I said, boy, it's the smallest hotel room this I ever go in. The bathroom come like an airplane bathroom. If it's a fat man, you can't even turn on in the bathroom. The place is so small. I want to stretch, I want to yoga stretch, and I can't have no space to stretch and thing. And I'm saying to myself, no wonder when them white people and them other people come to Jamaica and other places in the Caribbean and go in them hotel room, which are some big room. The hotel room them bigger than some of the people in my apartment them have in France. In Paris in particular. The hotel rooms in Jamaica and in the wider Caribbean are bigger than apartments that these people live in France. That's what I said today. So it's an over-subsidized industry that rapes Jamaica and gives very little to the people working. You see, the people who are going to jump up and talk and some of these things negatively, ask them, why is it that before the hurricane, the majority of labor unrest in Jamaica were workers in the tourism industry, in the hotels, especially the all-inclusives. Because if people happy in them work, them not demonstrate. They matter about how them treat them, and matter about the poor pay. That's even when Sandals went to Antigua. The Antiguan government them say, what you know? Don't come to Antigua with that kind of tourism product that you have in Jamaica. Keep your hotel in Jamaica if you want. They must go online and type in these things now. Go online and type in Sandals and Antigua. You can see where the Prime Minister run them out of them country. Because they want to go to the same foolishness that the Jamaican government sold out the Jamaican people in the 1980s. And a man I jump and say, oh, it's under Siaga. Because you know you have a people who are paying Pino. And I'm with Siaga. Siaga was the Prime Minister. But Michael Mann them was the opposition. And the Prime Minister can't make things and do things without the opposition. Because if the opposition want, they can rise up the people against it. So all of these decisions, either implicitly or explicitly, is agreed upon by both political parties. When you start to have the quarrel, it's going to come near to election. So I'm going to try to get into government. But when I'm in government, they have not done anything fundamentally different to transform the quality of lives of people. If you read a book by Rex Ford. I try to remember the name of the book there. Now I remember it now. But him say, well, the man just give a car and a flag and a national anthem, man, but they have not done anything significant to transform the lives of the people in Jamaica, you know? Them guys, they have not, through tourism, has not really improved the people's quality of life. And as I say again, you see the data showing that the highest incidence of poverty in parishes are those that depend upon tourism. Yeah, it stay away, you know, and then these guys have so much money. I say, man, them create what they call tourism enhancement fund, you know. I mean, know the people who responsible for the fund, you know. And the objective of the fund was to support the alternative tourism program. Seeing? So them credit when call the TEF. But I don't see no whole things are going. So even though our Virgin name Cleary in charge of it, I don't think so clear them I decide where the money I spend. Seeing? It's still, I see my sponsor like Carnival with Kamal, the banks them. You them I know. But them you then and you, then I'm not going to know people. If I go straight to Kamal them and the whole of the man them who are friends same way. And all them man they link up with the government and politics the same way, you know. So it's not like say you support someone you know so got impact the broader Jamaican space in any systemic way. You know, these are just cosmetic things the man them dealing with and things, you know.
And another thing I wanted to discuss is that um, the game Jamaican parties are playing with the people.
Yes, I.
I've heard a lot of murmurs speaking to numerous people about the fact that there's a blame game. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems there's a blame game going on between the PNP and JLP. And while they're playing this game, they're not focused on what needs
People are
to be
suffer.
done. All right, people are suffering. Can you elaborate on what's going on with that, please?
All right, let me start. Let me start from this point. There's a serious issue of trust in Jamaica, and rightly so. And I'm using giving a lot of information because I want people to go and check these out. I don't want to just accept it. So you say, okay, now if it's a man who is at the university, I'm the researcher. I want you to check these things out for yourself. Go and type in something that's called Transparency International. Them create a subject called the LAPAP study. And as long as you can remember in the LAPAP study, it always shows that Jamaican people don't trust the government, them don't trust the judiciary, all the things relating to the state, them don't trust. It also shows that Jamaica have a ranking of 4.0, seeing, or 40 out of 100. The closer you are to 100, is the less corrupt you are. When you're below 50, them say corruption is systemic in the country. So the data shows that over both PMP and JLP government, corruption is systemic, which I tell you about the PMP and the JLP are two system and the thief people things. That don't mean everybody in the PMP and JLP are thief, you know. But you see, as a team of people, you see those two teams of people, we call PMP and JLP, them are thief. Because the data show that. It's not I said, and as Rasta about everything else, but it's not I as Rasta about them. I tell you, it's for them data. You go and check out those data. Transparency International, LAPAP studies. Check those things. So here in our crisis now, I tell you, them people I check for people them higher. Because the JLP in power, when I get to understand now, them create disaster management committees. When you create the disaster management committees now, you don't involve the opposition and the disaster management committee. I mean, your man said the standing orders do not require, the standing orders are things that govern parliament. They do not require you to include people of the opposition on those committees. I mean, I say, well, that's what the standing order say. But I say, you have sense, bridging. It's man make law, man. Man can change law, man. And different circumstances, the standing order might not have been written to deal with a crisis situation. And so true, you don't know everybody and everywhere. You want to get as much people to inform the process. Seeing? So the JLP make a wrong move. Then the PMP now start cost. Everything is cost them a cost. So PMP a cost JLP, JLP a cost PMP. While the people them suffering. Bridging. If it wasn't fair, hey. You see those people in entertainment, I call the creative industries, the musician, the sports personnel, them. And it's them people that will pressure, you know. Hey, if I never them people, the amount of people dead in the country, you see, brethren, you'll be shocked. You see, I'll go for people born cartel like myself, come to rate cartel music. I know I'm a genius and everything, but I don't rate him music as far right. But I tell you, I have to rate him art for whatever reason. See? I say spice. I say popcorn. Them not go out with goods alone. Them not go to the tractor. And them not sent to no government because them know they're going to my thief. Them going on the ground. I say Lisa and she who did leave out of politics. And the only politician I see who I take fair personal thing I give to the people them. Me not see Andrew Holness I do nothing like that when personal thing. Me not see Mark I do it either. Me not see Bunting I do it either. Much guy in the politics have money, I me not see him do it. It's the entertainment who cuss every day. Are the ones who are out there. And guess what the man try to do? Create a scheme now to say that everything that you give must come to the government. I also heard that the man him saying that you must have TRN and some ID for collect aid. Now, remember I know when a hurricane comes and say, okay, put up your documents and properly, etc., etc. But when you look at a place like Westbury flatten, a place like Sensibility flatten, you take the people in them head, I think about no TRN, now no ID, and rather than, and them also carry the food, so the food must go to police station, the food land on the side to the people them there. And you say the food must go to police. Hey, watch your brethren. And I come some good joke or excuse. But the people got thief food. Foolishness. 1 and 2 foolishness will go on and a minor to that. Seeing? So, here the man must say no. The PMP say must get $50 million. Me hear some people say, why it must get $50 million? But when you have a crisis, they give the man $20 million in a considerable fund as a crisis. Seeing? But your man say, boy, a thief, them want to thief the money. And a man say, the JLP have the money I want thief, that's why I want the PMP involved. What they are admitting is that both sides know them a thief. So you know what is happening? People are giving them resources to non-governmental organizations because those are the only ones they can trust. So food for the poor probably overwhelmed. Because the amount of things we are reaching, I mean, if them can't do it logistically, I mean, if people are food for the poor. See? Other organizations, see the RMO, the Rastafari Mansion and organization, I said about things because I say more focus on Rastafari people specifically, because you know it go in Jamaica. People still discriminate against people and things still, you see it? So, I mean, I say that is happening, you know. But the fact that the RMO doing things is a good move. But you're right, my brother. These people are quarreling in the parliament, brethren. In the parliament, when the people get up a talk, the speaker of the house keep locking off the mic. Seeing? And sometimes I see what I say. But at the same time, you have to still know, man, you can't. You only apply rules in normal situations. Rules must be flexible in a crisis situation. And so you must give leeway. So a man one time to explain before him ask a question, do it. But it's because of politics I'm dealing and not people's life. Yeah, because of politics I'm dealing and not people's life, then we continue that kind of behavior, you know. Because in reality, you know, none of them guys that own a parliament they get affected, you know. As a matter of fact, remember, you know, while police and teacher, police and fireman and them man there have to do them work, them still put in more effort than normal, seeing? All the other people are volunteers. Do you recognize that parliamentarians are not volunteers? They are getting paid to do them work. They are getting paid. I must say police and firemen still get paid still, but I say parliamentarians actually get a raise of pay to do them work and perform. And them not performing in the crisis situation. While you have hundreds of thousands of Jamaican people who are volunteering, not getting paid to do what them doing. Who paying cartel? Who paying spice? Who paying shaggy? Them all leave all them tour and come. Who paying a Safa? Who paying Bolt? Who paying Shellyan? Who paying those people? Those are people who are investing them time and them resources to help people. And the guys in the parley of men, them go politician there. That I pay to do them work. Instead of doing them work, them in there quarrel with each other. While the people out there suffer and dead. Hey, them people are some joker, you know. That's why I see Bob the same feel like bombing up certain place and matter bombing that church. Right now, it might sound away, but we don't need no parliament. You know? And to all them man they behave. Yeah, man, he come across the Irish man say come like them need all a bomb in a parliament for get rid of them people bridging. Because them doing more harm and good right now for I people. May I tell you that, seeing? Yeah, I bet if them turn over the country to the people who are volunteering to do the work. Because I find them people that think with them heart. They might make decisions in them heart. Seeing them start out things in them brain, but they might make the final decision in them heart. They might do things out of caring for people. Not out of say that is my work. They might do it because they genuinely care. One of the person in parliament, I think, make a statement I need to check for. She's Babsy Greens. Like she said, she will run some concert and things still. Seeing? Babsy consistent with her thing, you know. Because I know that she grew up with entertainment. But when she said the concert now, I think some of that do it a bit different. I think the concert must be done in the diaspora. Because although Jamaican people now the money, they still want to go and show, you know. But I say we do in the diaspora, I do a pay-per-view. I have a series of those shows. I think that would be a more feasible and impacting approach and things. But generally for you, it's just be a quarreling, and very non-progressive them attitude towards sorting out this problem here and things, you know.
And Fire, I know we discussed, you touched on it briefly speaking about the hotel situation, right? But for those unaware, I'm not saying there's a large portion of society, I don't know the exact numbers, but a lot of people in Jamaica deal with the daily hustling, whether it's flatfoot hustling, Fire, just daily hustling, buying and selling, right? I don't hear anyone speaking about their situation because now they went weeks without buying and selling, and whatever they were doing has declined tremendously.
All right.
Is there any aid or anything to assist the average person that's outside trying to make some money?
The official data coming out of the Planning Institute of Jamaica says that 40% of the Jamaican population, the Jamaican economy is informal. 40%. You know what data is, so you must plus and minus something. In this case, I'd add 10%. So at least half of the Jamaican economy is informal. It also says that 30% of the Jamaican population is unbanked, which means that 30% of the population don't have a bank account.
Far right, real quick, just explain what informal is for those unaware.
Yeah. So informal are persons that you say who are hustling that not registered with any formal institutions in Jamaica to run them business and things still. Seeing? So I'm gonna start doing things here and make money. So the state, from here, the man talk about TRN and ID to get food. It's like a worse when it comes to people in business, man. This government a business with people who have business not registered. The government, I mean, I thought when I say government, I mean PNP and JLP. No matter what you want a PNP man, I say. When they report them, have business people, them same way. Seeing? So, I don't know of any support. I know you have any support because that's a part of my work. How we help people to transition from a non-formal, informal platform to a more formal platform. And registration is only a part of the process. But I was say you must standardize people operations, then learn best practices, regularize them operations and become a part of the ecosystem and networking support, and then people can go formalize them business if they want. But no, there's no program. Let me give you an example of the man I'm saying. The 400 generators come to Jamaica. And I think them say, Andrew say, I'm going to lend the people in the generator. We suggest him to take it back after a time. I say, I'm talking about business people. So note then, if you never registered business, you can't get a generator for borrow, you know. Remember that, give people, you know. Now, do you know how much people are in the micro, small, and medium enterprise registered? 50,000. Jamaica Business Development Corporation, JBDC. Go online and type in JBDC. It's a premier institution for micro, small, and medium enterprises. Harold Davis, who's a team leader, when we were writing the MSME policy, he said, Knife, while the World Bank research shows that you have 420,000 MSMEs, One research by the World Bank say have 420,000, you know. 20,000, not 420. 420,000 MSMEs. Harold will say, based on his own research, he will bring it down to 50,000. Now you have 400 generators to distribute amongst people, them say. And it's 50,000 MSMEs you have. So you divide 400 into 50,000. And that's what it say. I don't hear anything. Do you know that farmers in Jamaica, even though they are registered with RADA, which is a Rural Agro-Development Authority, and the Ministry of Agriculture, they are not considered to be a part of the micro, small, and medium enterprise, and therefore they are considered to be informal as well. Out of the informal space, the farmers are the ones who might receive the most assistance. But people in the street, we say also, no man, they have to survive on them own. But you see, and that's why people understand Jamaican people. I people solid as a rock, you know. Because I say all these experiences will make I people well tough, you know. I say I tell them say hard and tough, yeah. Because them know say them can't depend upon no one but themselves and them bridging them and things. And that's why them can't understand the loyalty where the Jamaican people have towards each other. Even badness. Because them know when all is said and done, it's a neighbor you can't talk. And most times some people close at them neighbor than all them family, you know. Because there's something going on in your neighbor, you have to go deal with it. You can't see no politician, you know. Or a certain guy, you know. It's a neighbor. Seeing? And so you find out now, say all those people are us in the street, it's them are going to support each other. But there's no program, there's no national program that is targeting to help those people to build back them life post the natural hazard and the natural disaster, you know? No program, absolutely no program. Well, none that I know of. I think some know a portion of things. None. There has never been. And there will never be. Because they must see and count the people. Them don't count I people, bridging. It's 40% of the population, the business them say in Jamaica informal. 40%. And 38% of the people don't have a bank account. And that was before the hurricane. So you imagine now how much that has increased post Melissa. No program.
So clarify the insurance with the IMF. I've been hearing different things, and just give clarification to that whole situation, and also will it benefit Jamaican country? Because if the government receives it, will any
It's
of it?
150 million US.
That's the word on the street.
Listen to me now. All right. I see man try to politicize that. Climate risk insurance is something that the Caribbean had organized for about between 2004 and 2007. See? Now, Jamaica, with the Virgin Nigel Clark, go up on a similar thing to the same climate risk insurance. Because I didn't draw from enough fire. It's didn't draw from the climate risk insurance to the Caribbean. Even when you have, I tell you the climate risk insurance thing this year, it is based upon certain category of things, like wind speed, etc. And so even if the hurricane never hit Jamaica, based upon certain thing where it will come through, you still get some money. Now if it hit Jamaica, you get 150 million US. 1% is better than 0%. And 0 to 1 is 100%. So, yeah, it's good that's why I get $150 million. That is nowhere in comparison to what we actually need to address the problem, but it's still better than 0. Now, before the man them think, oh, we are going to use money to help people. Me hear someone talk about is bright, Nigel Clark, bright. It's not a Nigel Clark idea, man. That is a Caribbean idea, Virgin, man. I know also know people can stay like that, man. Because Nigel Clark accelerated the process for Jamaica. That means that you come with the idea. And it really matters who come with the idea. These people are so academically insecure, intellectually insecure, as supporters of political parties. That's why I try to find something to say. Yes, we do something that makes sense. I have some joke backward kind of mentality that, Virgin. See? Now, The question they ask, if it go to the government, you have to benefit the people. Fire, if I use historical data, there'll be some benefit to the people. But again, it is going to be suboptimal. Because historically, when the government do things, it never work out the way it should really work out, you know? Because always the better. So you can have some positive, yes, from it, but not as positive as it should be because of the same stupid bickering and quarreling that take place. Hey, let me show you something. And the insurance you talk about. We are talking about how we feed and clothe and shelter the people. That's what Rastafari said. Feed, clothe and shelter yourself. See? How we feed, clothe and shelter the people. Shelter is a big issue now. During COVID, I see the man erect hospitals in weeks. Right up at you with this son. Weeks. Weeks, literally. Contain hospitals. Jamaica have what a big homeland, football field, which you can create those makeshift spaces to accommodate people. But do you know one of the biggest opportunity to house people, I don't hear them talking about, and hopefully them do it, but I not hear. It's a church. Jamaica have more churches per square mile than any other country in the world. And any community you go in, the church always have one of the prettiest building and the most land space. Every church have bathroom facilities, toilet, bathing facilities. The pastor might have a special bathroom and bathing facility as well. So you're saying to me, I'm gonna tell you, take up everybody, you know. Like myself, who's I'm born the church and my brother book a dance, I got them and put in that church ground. No. But I'm certain that majority of the Jamaican people are some church related people. If I even your congregation, I remember, you know, if I St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, the church is damaged. Church have partners across different parts of the island. So you have neighboring church in Manchester. You have church at Clarendon. You have place at Kingston. And the church usually have better infrastructure, so you can put on the roof on the church fast to create emergency shelters. And the church can also provide the psychosocial support. I know, hey, Jamaica some real powerful and Irish church people, you know. So when a man must have born the church and state, now the head of the church may have born and the head of the government, you know, is at the congregation, because the congregation are some really nice people who want to help people, you know. I have students in my class who are church people. I must them write the proposal, I see them write then proposal, them always want to help people in need. And hey, sometimes I tell you, say, Virgin, it's about chatting with the government guy, them, you know. Because them not use the church space, them. The church ground them usually are concrete or grass. Why we not using those spaces? You have to tell me say church I tell you no. But not say what church I tell you no. Them have the facility. So you can use the stadium them that are not being used, like our Chilana Stadium and the football field them that the community them. For people like NHT scheme them a concrete scheme. You know? But for certain communities that they have community centers, they can transform those as well. We can create bathrooms. Seeing, just like, oh, when a man have a big dance, when a man have a big show, you have got bathroom thing the man them create for the big show them, for toilet facilities and things. We can do those things. We can make the man them send in those things. Them as they send in 2 shipload of portable toilets, so people can have them for use. And make sure you organize the cesspool collector man them, we can clear the thing them very regularly. And about politicize the business because you want to give your friend the business come draw the sewage. You know, make everybody get, you know. Ask me for sending water trucks. Ask me for sending cesspool trucks. All those things that can be used in emergency services. See? Ask them for sending special transport that can move people with disabilities. Because all a part of the population, man, them leave out totally, you know. Them leave it out totally, my brethren. Point I'm making is that. Even though we find ourselves in a bad situation, see? It can actually be something that turn out good enough. And it can be something where even more galvanize the Jamaican people in a very direct way. Don't know, say Jamaican people. All right. Let me give you an example. You know, say I come in one day and they're Atlanta. Say I come from France and they're Atlanta. Seeing and in at the airport and a portion of Jamaican people coming home. And some elderly people, church people, them know enough of ya. And I see over the far and I listen to people, man. I can see the vibes of the people, man. In them heart, I can see the pain still, but them have a happy face, same way. Seeing and here we go on now. The flight go overbook. I'm not straining, The flight overbook with 8 passengers. I can send you the video. So here the person in charge, the people who announce when they come up on the plane. Here the lady come up. We're asking for 8 volunteers to give up them seat and take the next flight tomorrow at the same time. And we're going to pay for your hotel, pay for your transportation, and give you a $200 voucher. Nobody move. Couple seconds. Same announcement, $400 voucher. Nobody move. Couple minutes after, like a minute now, me not no long time. Same announcement, 500, 600, 900, 1,000. Nobody move. Me know them work it out eventually, but nobody move. Now, a $1,000 voucher. Me don't come from America. Seeing? But I think a 1,000, you can ask the people, what's the ticket for come to Jamaica? I'm say about $400. I say, what? They might give a voucher which is twice the price of the ticket. Nobody move. Now, you see that tell me something, I mean, I thought, I say, I'm more say, we can see elderly people and some church people, over here. The people, you can't tell it, remember, says the next day, same time, the people them not giving up no seat for your money because their intention is to come to Jamaica to help them people. So helping them people value more to them than $1,000, which could buy 2 tickets for them. That tell you something. I mean, I wonder if the guy them in Parliament can take even a word, not even a page, but a word out of the book of the Jamaican population. You know? That love is a kind of unconditional love where I and people have for each other. And despite our differences, when you have the crisis situation, we forget them things they are. And the only people who are not forgetting it are the ones in Parliament. You know? They now come out of my head, man. That trip, that experience I'm having in the Atlanta airport, where you pay people to give them seat, and them not get no seat because them people they are Jamaica and them want to come to Jamaica right now. Right now, them want to go. Them don't want to go tomorrow. Them don't want to go next week. Them want to come right now.
Do you believe that, you know how Marcus Garvey always say, you're not going to know yourself until you're back against the wall, right? All right. Do you believe this experience right now will bring about a new golden age in Jamaican culture in regards to a reemergence? Not saying the resilience wasn't there, but a reemergence of a deeper resilience and also a deeper expression of creativity across the arts.
I smile because it's a happy man. Already, man. It's a happy man. You know? And people gonna say, oh, man, I smile so much, because as far right, we are far right, We can see far and it's a happy man, bridging. My only lamentation is, as I say, I now see it manifest in some key decision makers, which are in members of parliament and ministers. But Mr. Jamaica run the government in the 1980s. After the government walk out of the parliament, say a bogus election and the country still running. So I'm in a business about government. My business about people. See? Yeah, man. If you talk about our creativity. Oh, yeah. During Gilbert, Loving Dear Coast, that one song, While Gilbert, I become big. Right now, I'm showing Virgin Mona. Where they in New York says a whole album out already. We're about a Jamaican song. We are talking about Melissa, Some have a kind of jovial part about it. You know, some more serious and care introspection. We know that people are going to have a very different mindset about those in the entertainment industry. You know, they might have a very different mindset as well about people in the sports. Hey, let me tell you what's going on, man. When I mention your name, you want to show off youth. Me use that word deliberately. The name Noel Lyles. Noel Lyles the name. Noel Lyles or something like that. We run. Seeing? You know, Jamaican people dangerous, you know. You see, you fast, you know. Or rate to say you fast. When I go like you fast on Jamaican people. So we cuss him, but we burn him enough. But I see that youth, the brethren. Him Empress is a Jamaican daughter. But I don't think it's just that. I think he just love Jamaica too. The man send things come at Jamaica. Noah lies. Noah lies. Where Jamaican people born hot because of the competition, because so we stay. I said the man send things come at Jamaica. The man him Empress. The amount of people they are foreign. Some of them talk about locally alone. Seeing? So the attitude that Jamaican people are going to have, and we don't have a positive attitude towards sports people long time, you know. And even some of the DJing. But you see that? That will be amplified, my brethren. Because they might do things they never have to do. They might go places they never have to go. Them genuinely doing it. Seeing? Again, this will prove the resilience of the Jamaican people. So we have a question that the creativity and the innovativeness are going to come out. Seeing? All I'm saying though is that say, just as the phoenix rise from the ashes fire, there's a conscious decision made by the phoenix, you know. And I'm saying, you know, the phoenix isn't everyone, you know. Just like how the Kundalini rise, you know. The Jamaican population has already made that step and that decision to accelerate what you call that golden age. I can see through the works that I'm doing. My only concern is just like doing enslavement, whereby the guys them in parliament are like the ones who are in the house slaves. And when I say, for do certain things, liberate yourself, those guys were saying no. That's why enslavement took so long. And today we face the same situation with a set of guys in parliament, both PMP and GLP. And that's about the individuals, because you have individuals who are alright, but as a team, these people be the biggest handicap and stumbling back to how fast and how far RNI people can self-actualize coming out of the crisis. So how far the phoenix are going to soar when it rise from the ashes can only be handicapped by those who abandon them Jamaicanness and accept a colonial enslaved mindset, which are the ones in the parliament. But if them just take one set of word, even a sentence, out of the book of the Jamaican people, there's no stopping Bridget, you know? Yeah, as I like people say, your salad is a rock, and them can't stop a fireman. Them can't stop any people, you know? I mean, what a man feels is Jamaica that alone, you know? It's something about the Caribbean people, seeing? We're very resilient, yeah. I don't see Jamaica up on the spotlight, you know, but we see go on to other place and we revive and we always come better. I mean, I tell you, I make a special recognition of the Caribbean people, them. Trinidad and Barbados, everywhere. Where a man can give you in a kind of again a love, you know. And sometimes all you need is love, you know. We need the food and the clothes and the shelter, but more time you need a positive word sound, you see it? And that love where the whole earth has shown Jamaica a fuel, that resilience, you know, and that drive towards resettling and come forward much better and things, you see it?
Please share either a quote or a teaching from His Imperial Majesty to share with the people to give them a strength in this time.
You know, say I favorite quote from Ice last year. That's what him say. I give two. The all is in mind. Discipline, I'm correct it. Discipline of the mind is a basic ingredient of genuine morality and spiritual strength. And so in this time, it are required that kind of discipline of mind to focus and do what we need to do to ensure that whatever actions we take today will be sustainable and also prevent any future reoccurrence, as I will see today. The second one is to the one them in Parliament in particular, where I say, he who must be first in place must be first in merit as well. So therefore, what governments must do, rather than be quarreling about who should be doing what, make sure say it is based upon competence and know-how and not compromise and know-who. Make the best person for the work. Do the work. Don't politicize the process. Because Jamaicans will not forget, We might forgive, but we'll never forget. And Melissa is going to leave a big imprint on Jamaican mind, similar to how Gilbert leave that imprint on Jamaican mind. So again, discipline of the mind is a basic ingredient of genuine morality and spiritual strength. And he who must be first in place must be first in merit as well. Give thanks, Aya.
Serious thing fire. It's always a joy and an honor to reason with the great Dr. K out of Maui Knife. And if you're comfortable with, are there any organizations you would recommend people tune in that you recommend they should donate to?
All right. You have couple. Now, there is, for women in particular, in agriculture, there's a Jamaican network of rural women producers. A sister named Tamisha Lee is the president for that organization. She directly engaged about 4,000 women now, but have a network of about 10,000 women, and these are women farmers. Why I say women? Because say when women get things, that are the family, that are the community, that's not the individual, that's our household, that's the community. Then there is Food for the Poor. It's an umbrella organization doing a lot of work, positive work. For years, them consistent. Some have a good network in which them can operate. I'm also suggesting that for ones who are Rastafari, connect with the Rastafari Mansion and organization, because I have a drive towards putting some stuff out right now. The University of the West Indies, through the Mona School of Business and Management, but the University of the West Indies also a very good network, and them create a system now to collect stuff to get to people as well, So, but there are many, many organizations. I say, Lisa, I like what Mr. Lisa and are doing, because of our foundation. I'm thinking Mark ACE 876 or something like that. Lisa not in politics and also she's not distracted by that kind of foolishness. And I can see it. I can see her heart in her face when she's out there. You can connect with her sister there and think to man and get stuff to her. But there are countless organizations. But those are some of the ones that come to my mind that I think are very reputable and they can give assistance. But I now go follow people and talk like say people and look people things to thief and everything there, So even if you can't get in contact with those that I am speaking of, there are other ones that you can connect, man. Just go online and type in and say foundations and organizations who can offer support to the Jamaican people.
Our respect fire. We give thanks same way.
Aye, aye.